Hello, welcome to me doing a live drawing. This is the first time I've done this. So basically, welcome to, my name is Neal Vaughan. I'm going to be showing you how I paint in live, plein air. Planning maybe to go into the wilderness island behind us, but unfortunately today it's a little bit rainy. And also, I'm a bit worried about the live stream in this weather. So I'm doing it from a very appropriate place during lockdown, which is basically in my front garden. I live in Carshalton, and I've got the very amazing benefit of overlooking this wonderful wilderness island, which is on the Wandle. So yeah, I'm going to show you in a minute what I'm doing. You'll see, what I'll do is I'll turn my page around and you'll be able to see me drawing live. Here's my sketchbook, and what I'll do is I'll try as much as possible to hold my sketchbook up to the, so you can be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, I paint or I draw with charcoal. So I've got a large selection of charcoal I'll be using today. Some of it is bought, but other bits are naturally sourced from different types of trees. I'll be using a bit of sketch stick, which is quite often pressed charcoal, and I've got other bits of kind of, this is naturally sourced as well. That's chalk. Okay. Normally when I set myself up with a scene like this, I'll look for a while, and the sun is changing massively. But we've got these lovely dark areas, and then these lighter areas. And I'll start by just mapping out my page, really. But it'll be very, very quick. If you are chatting, hopefully I'll be able to see you. And then I'll be able to respond to what you're doing. I can see there's a few people watching, which is really great to see. So let's start, okay? Holding a sketchbook like this can be quite hard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this around so hopefully you can see the sketchbook. And what I'll do is make sure my picture's nice and clear. Okay, this is not ideal, but let's go for it. Okay, so I'm going to do some very, very quick marks to start off with. I'll probably change the camera angle in a second just so you can see a bit more. But all I'm doing is I'm just mapping out roughly what's in front of me. I'm sorry if you can't see the page too much at the moment. The weather is kind of against me at the moment. It's the only place I can kind of really place the camera. But I'm focusing really on these two large trees I've got. And I'm just mapping out the darker areas and the lighter areas at the moment. Just trying to play around with that. Right. Let me move that around. And let's see if I can angle that down so you can see a bit more of what I'm doing. Okay. Okay. The most important thing with painting the landscape is that you are constantly looking, okay? That's the most important thing. I quite often paint or draw blind. So what I'm doing is I'm really just looking at what's in front of me. I'm just making marks. That's all I'm doing is making lots and lots and lots of marks. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to bring the sketchbook up to show you what I'm doing once in a while so you can see. I'm starting with a very, very large stick, and I'm going to move on to the more naturally sourced stick in a sec, just to sort of give me some texture around these areas here. But as I said, all I'm doing at the moment is just working out quick marks. What's great is the weather is kind of good because it's giving me movement in the trees. So there's that lovely movement there. Lots of lovely movement. You can hear you can kind of hear the rustle of the trees, which is wonderful. Now, what I could do, I might do, it depends on how much time I've got, is I might do more than one drawing. You can see I'm smudging as I go as well, just to give myself a bit more of that lovely movement that's happening at the moment. Okay, I'm happy with that at the moment. I hope you can see some of that. So, because I have to put the sketchbook down now. I'm now going to go in with this other different kind of charcoal. I work very, very quickly. As I said, sometimes not even looking at what I'm doing. That lovely dark area there. The wonderful thing about painting plein air is you've just got everything around you. And don't be worried about it. It's not about being precious. It's not about recording every single leaf. It's about recording the landscape and about how you feel about being there. It's that kind of essence. I recently did a project called Lost, and in that project I was painting or drawing over a period of the winter right the way through to the summer. This area and through to Bellington Park and non-such and stuff. I've got this lovely dark area here, which I'm going to really bring round because I love that. Nice dark area here. I get lots of lovely marks. With this particular one, you can get some really nice movement going, which the trees are giving me lots of at the moment. You've got to be careful with your dark areas because obviously they've got to be mapped out well, because if you want to go on top later and create that interest, then you can overwork it. So I'm always conscious about that. But it's about making lots of lovely shapes and marks. And what I quite often do is I'll squint. Because when you squint, it gives you those kind of darker areas in relation to everything else. The weather is constantly changing today, but it's a good thing, he says. I'm now going to change back to the large stick, and I probably won't go on to the smaller sticks until really right near the end. So I've almost finished mapping out, really. I mean, I could extend this to the other page because might give them a bit more interest. Go for a real panoramic. That lovely dark area in the distance there. I'm just working out the lights and darks. It's getting lots and lots of lovely movement and lots of lovely mark making. This tree over here is very delicate, so let's bring that in, but I'm going to bring that in with this one. Yeah, that's it. In some areas, you'll find you will almost leave alone after this initial phase. But it's beginning to take shape now. Bring that tree over a bit. So I'm conscious about not doing too many really dark marks at the moment, because I don't want to overcomplicate things for later. Okay, so let's bring myself back up. And that's what we've got at the moment. Okay, so this is the initial phase. So I've got those lovely darks in there, some of the lights, and the areas of the paper I'm leaving are areas of paper that will definitely be the highlighter parts. Okay, and at this point, I'm kind of 15 minutes into the drawing, and this is where I could think, do you know what? I'm going to be bold, and do I go across both pages? For you guys, it's going to be a little bit more of a nightmare because I'm going to be moving the page around quite a lot. But do you know what? I'm feeling a bit brave today. And the weather is looking like it's going to stay for a bit. So let's bring it over. Why not? These sketches, I do sell some of these sketches. Rare, because quite often I actually try and keep hold of them really. Because they can become reference for larger, more abstract works, which is what I'm working on at the moment. I was meant to be exhibiting in Morden Hall last month. Obviously, that didn't happen. So now I've gone to the second page. I'm going to bring it out, and it's quite light over there. It's the same height as over here, that bit there. So let's bring in that. And this particular ball of charcoal really does give me lots of room to make lots of lovely marks. And, you know, it can scratch the paper, which sometimes can cause problems, but so that's this tree over here. Let's bring that back round. Yeah, I'm liking that. Typically the wind's now dropped, so there's no wind anymore. That's lovely and dark over there. Lovely and dark. This particular area of London, if you don't know it, is known for the Wandle. It was one of the most active, used rivers for quite a while. It was a working river, so it was actually quite filthy. It was a working river for many years. Afternoon. And then I can just bring it round, so I'm taking it round even further. There's this one here. Sometimes to give yourself direction or give myself, I'll wet my fingers, take them up. I'm actually wearing a bit of nail varnish, which does help because it gives me other marks I can do. I'm using the tips of my fingers, and I'm just being expressive. Lots and lots of lovely marks. I think I'm about 20 minutes into the drawing now, which is, and I will take the full hour. You can see I'm smudging in at this point, just getting an idea of what I can do in terms of marks. As I go off into distance, I will definitely get lighter, just to give it a sense of that kind of going off in the distance. The trees over there are really moving now, which is great. So I'll give that movement into it. So this is what I've now got. Okay, so we start over here and we go right across to over the other side. Okay, so I'm getting lots of sort of distance, but keeping playing around with those marks. In a minute, I'm going to put the paper back down on the page and work on one side of the page at the moment. In a moment, I'll probably bring in the smaller sticks maybe and start creating some other marks. The danger with mark making is you can actually overdo a certain mark. So you're constantly playing around with what those marks are. Right, let's move back to this page. So I'm back onto this stick. Okay. Let's make sure you can see. I'm now going to take this page back down, again. Okay, so you can see the page I'm now working on. And I'm going to move you around a bit, so hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Right, yeah. I'm now going to start thinking about details, but I'm not going to be drawing every leaf because that would be crazy. And so it's about lots of lovely marks. And you're using the white areas of the paper now, trying to create areas of interest. Normally, if I wouldn't do this type of scene, I'll try and maybe go out into the wilderness because you get a variation of kind of straight bits and bendy bits and snarly bits. But it's about getting an essence of what you got out there. I suppose now, yeah, we're kind of well, so I suppose halfway through the drawing. So we'll bring that bit round. I love this kind of dappled light coming in there. That's quite cool. I might bring that down. Kind of express that kind of dappled light. I'm now working back into marks I used before. I haven't really gone into anything else. In terms of sticks yet. And sometimes less is more. I've got a wonderful drawing partner I go out with regularly, Abel Kesterden, and we're always discussing this idea of less is more. You can see both his and my work on the Martial Artist website. And you're not slavishly trying to follow everything that's out there. You just give it an essence of it. That movement in the trees, the different types of leaves. So this tree I'm working on now has got lots and lots of different types of leaves. So over here, I want to be working more on playing around with now, kind of little tiny marks, really. And this is where now I will change. I'm going to bring out the smaller charcoal. He says, hopefully that's in his bag. This is my I've got a trusty bag that I bring around with me all the time. Let's pop that down there. And this has got all my little bits of charcoal in it. Now, I do need to invest in some more charcoal soon, because I'm beginning to run out of bits that I can rely on. Let's try that. Yeah, that's it. And sometimes it's about, you find a bit and you think, nah, it's not working for me, that bit. Let's try that one. But it's going to give me a more smaller, more direct mark, this. And this is the time now where you do start becoming conscious of what you're doing, which can be a danger. You could overplay. I'll bring the sketchbook back up and show you in a sec some of the stuff I've been doing. And don't forget, you can use the side of the stick as well. And at some point, I will go back and I will rub out areas as well. I'm trying to create movement the whole time. Without being too tricksy. And this is where I might start bringing in something else like a grey. Just to get that idea of kind of different shaded areas. Taking areas back, bring them forward. Right, let's now start working around here. I'm going to bring in that. Sometimes I almost get lost in what I'm doing as well. Can't remember where I was. So I might reinforce that. This line here was wrong on the start. So. Hello.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
How you were managing this year?
We're all online this year.
What are you doing? Painting?
Yes, live on YouTube. You are actually live.
Oh, crumbs.
There you go. Wave.
Oh, so we'll watch the sun that open windows.
Yes, we it's go through the website castyourartist.com.
Thank you.
So at this point, I'm going to now start really taking that bit back a bit. I will bring in some white later. I like that kind of bit there being a bit more. And sometimes it is just a mess of marks. It doesn't have to be anything. You know, I'm trying to just capture the essence of the place. I suppose drawing with you this today, it's a little bit forced because I'll probably do at least 2 hours on a drawing this big. So you're getting a kind of a potted kind of idea of what I'm doing. My assistant has said I've got a comment. What, can't see what I do?
Yeah.
Cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up the page once in a while because yes, we are in full light. So that's what we're doing at the moment. Okay. So we've got sort of 2 pages. So a very, very large sketch. And I'm now starting to work on this side. What I'll do now is I shall bring this down. Okay, because I brought it up to chat to the ladies. I'm now going to work on this area here. And I'm just going to bring in lots of different marks in here. We've got this tree going on in the background, which has a darker area there, which is what I did before. So I knew there was a reason for that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around with that area. So I'm now looking at a tree over there. And sometimes you can get really lost. You're drawing this tree, you think, hang on, that wasn't there. That's the beauty of kind of blind drawing, I suppose. I'm just doing lots of circles now because I want to bring that back in. Good, the light's coming out again, that's helping me. We'll bring these greys in now. Let's get an idea of the burst of light. This is almost green, this grey I've got in here. It's wonderful for bring that idea of light back in. I won't rub out yet. The only time I rub is when I normally want to do very small details at the end. Let's get this area of grey in here. Very greeny grey. And this is rather than a charcoal or chalk. This is a pastel, a Rembrandt pastel. For the first time, I've now brought out the white, just so I can see what I'm doing there. Some idea of these leaves flicking up. Over there, then come back. Okay. We're now just over halfway through this session. And as you can see, that's the local boys going past. The more you bring your marks up, the more exciting the picture gets, I suppose. For me, anyway. I'm now going to start using this naturally sourced chalk. It gives you a very scratchy line. Which can really help with close-up kind of details of leaves. You can see a lot more of my work, obviously, by the way, on nealvaughan.co.uk. And as part of the online artist festival, there's lots of artists doing what I'm doing. So please follow us on Cast You On Artists. You can see, if you might be able to hear, that I'm now grinding in some of this white, and you can actually lick it, and it'll give you a different kind of feel. What I love about this kind of scratchy stuff is you can really get some lovely marks going. You can probably now hear me almost hitting the paper. Okay. As I said, sometimes I'm not even looking at the paper. I'm just looking at what I'm drawing. And you're bringing over marks into other areas to kind of reinforce areas of shade and tone. You can take photographs as you go. I do sometimes, if I think I'm going to be working on this back in the studio, but I prefer sometimes just to go with it. The fact that the light is changing the whole time. There's a shady area over there that I'm now concentrating on. A lighter area I'm now concentrating on, so now I can bring the darks back over again. I'm going to bring that down. Getting charcoal and over yourself is almost impossible. I mean, today I'm wearing dungarees because I do actually find them easy to work in. They cover out your front. But I've got my hands absolutely covered in charcoal. But that's the way I work because I'm constantly working back into the surface. So to answer your question, there is no there's no remedy for that, I'm afraid. You just got to go with it. Oh, that wind is lovely at the moment. Got these lovely leaves just being flicked up over there. What a perfect day for doing it. He says, as he sees a very, very dark cloud coming towards him. In a minute, I'll probably be saying, what is happening? But yeah, that light is really lovely over these leaves over in this corner. Bring those back in. Okay. Now I'm going to start working. I've got a lot of my marks on one here. I'm happy with that. I'm done. I'm finished. This is now working on the body now, over here, bringing all this back in. Okay, so a lot of that will be licking my thumb. And actually, when the charcoal gets wet, you've got to be careful because it'll rip the page. But you can bring it around. Now I'm wetting all my fingers. So again, to go back to that question, sometimes being a little bit dirty will kind of help. I have had embarrassing moments where I've got home and I suddenly realised I walked through the whole way home with charcoal all over my face. But I really want to get that sense of movement in these bits over here now. And there's, as you notice, what I did, as I said, I mapped out the tones right at the beginning. And what I'll do at the end is I'll start bringing the darker tones back in. We've got about another sort of 10, 15 minutes. I will pose the questions at the end. But you can see where the page is beginning to rip there. That can be to your advantage. I will scratch back into the page. I've almost scratched straight through the page sometimes, which my framer Kevin, both framers Kevin and Matt, find hilarious and a challenge, because when they try and frame my work, it normally has to be surface mounted because it's so damaged. If you window mount it, you can never get it flat. So I'm there to give Eagle and Fred frames a challenge all the time, you know, keep them on their feet. I'm starting to squint again now, so I can find those darker areas again. Because I want to bring those back in. Because the danger is at this point you can go a bit monotone. The thing with charcoal is you can't overwork it. So if a bit's not working, then just make it work. Now try to work on these darker areas over here. All the time think about that sense of movement. There's more workshops going on, by the way, today and tomorrow. We've got Tracy Downing doing things on our lovely recent poetry and abstract artwork, Poems in the Mind. Kate Marsden is doing live Facebook and Instagram studio tours. And then we've got, after me, in about an hour's time, you've got Henna reading The Story of Duck, which is great. And of course, we've got Andy reading Roald Dahl later on at 6 this evening. Right. So this area over here is the bit I now want to kind of think about. Okay. I like that over there. So I want to bring this back in, and I want to start thinking about, because the light over there is definitely one of the strongest. So this area over here needs to be worked on. It's quite a fuzzy tree, that one. So do I shade? Do I smudge it? Maybe not, but certainly give this kind of circular movement to it, so it almost fluffs it up. And then it's got a darker area behind it, which is this area here, which I did record earlier on. We've got this area coming down that's quite fluffy as well. And this is where the light is now coming through. So this is where I am at the moment now. I'm kind of happy with it. So about another quarter of an hour of working time for this. As I said, normally it would take about 2 hours, something as big as this. Especially if I want to go over to the other page. I'm working mainly on this page. I would work over both normally, but because of today and you guys. And you can see sometimes when you bring these pastels in, the charcoal below resists it, and that's lovely when that happens. You get some lovely marks from underneath. It keeps on that movement. At this stage, I probably want to start really, if I want it to look more traditional, I'll probably start really honing it down, so you get more of a sense of the shapes going on. Now working on the small stick. And I'm quite conscious now of, this is probably where I think, is this going to be traditional? Is this going to be abstract? Next week, I'll be doing an abstract. Probably working the same view, but I'll be working with colour. There's a slightly darker area over there I want to bring in. And that sense of kind of smaller, more delicate leaves. Okay. Let's now work on that darker shape over there. Branches can really give your drawing direction, structure. So at this point, this is probably where I'll start thinking about where all the different kind of horizontal and vertical lines I want to bring in. And again, sometimes it's about doing that blind. Which is why in my art clubs I've been quite keen on expressing to people the importance of blind drawing, because it definitely gives you more expression. Now I'm thinking about lines and directions of things. So you can see now I'm bringing in some more of these kind of darker shapes, some more of the tree, sense that there is these little twiggier bits that have been blown around. And then once in a while I'll use the side of the charcoal to almost smudge in areas. If you have got changing light like this, there's very little you can do. Just work on the light areas when it comes back. But trust what you put down. It's amazing what the trees can give you. They can give you some lovely directions like this. These lines coming down here. I'm not even looking at the tree for these ones. I'm looking back at the picture. Because I want to really accentuate that kind of that line, these kind of lines coming down the trees giving me. Here where I play around these fluffy bits, I might bring it back in and bring it round. I want to bring back that sense of that gnarly tree here. Okay. Getting quite happy with that. Let's get this darker area in here. Got about 5 minutes left. Right. Let's attempt, in the time we have got left, to do the other page. Now, at some point, what I'll do is, you'll see what I'm doing now, is I will smudge quite large areas just to give it some kind of sense of body and shape. Okay. And as I said, normally I'll spend a lot more time on this. And this, all I'm doing now is just getting an impression of the other side, really, because I haven't enough time to fully engage with that side. I said it was ambitious maybe to do that, but I fancied bringing this drawing over, because it's amazing how the scene decreases in the distance. And what I'll probably do is, if Helena wasn't doing dark, I would probably stay out here for a little bit longer. Maybe finish off this side. Well, not finish it off, but certainly give some more of a sense. Right, finally, charcoal stick, or sketch stick, should I say. This is mega dark. Much darker than charcoal. It's nice to get areas you want to really go for dark. I know some people mentioned this about my work before. Too dark, Neal, too dark. Well, more for him, I say, because I like a nice bit of black, a nice bit of dark areas. So this kind of sketch stick I've got in over here, I'll bring in over here to some of these areas. Just a couple more minutes. But you've got to be really careful with it because it can dominate. And it's only areas where you really feel it deserves it. And then finally, if you want, you then bring in your rubber. And this is really right at the end. And that, for that, you've got to be careful again. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. What you need to do is make sure you've got a surface to rub it on. And then you bring in, I'm probably not going to do it, but because what you can do is you can see, you can actually make darker marks rather than actually lighter marks. But what you can do is you can bring in some of those areas of lighter interest into the darker areas. Okay, right. So, what someone says, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Anna and Jackie, for commentating. It is almost, as I said, almost impossible to get control while you're drawing. So the scene I've been drawing is all the way down there. I'll try and bring the computer way around, but it goes all the way down there. And then what I've come up with, or what I've enjoyed doing, is this here. Okay, so it's very big, very, very big. Actually, do you know what? I've really enjoyed the challenge of that. It's definitely come out more abstract, maybe, than I was expecting. But as I said, sometimes that's what it's about. It's about lots and lots of marks, okay? And don't worry about it being more abstract than you wanted, because sometimes that's a good thing. If I wanted to paint figurative, as my great friend said a few weeks ago when we went down to the ponds, well, Neal, if you want to paint figurative, go and paint the ponds in a church, because you're only going to get one type of drawing out of some ponds in the church. I think it's about to chuck down with rain, so this is the perfect time to finish. So thank you so much for everybody that's attended today. By the way, because I'm near my house, what I'll do is I'll just chuck the drawing straight inside. But if I was out in the wilderness, I would undoubtedly bring with me a sheet of newsprint to put between the two pages, and then I'll have my wipes. So yes, and I'm filthy. Please join in with the rest of the open studios, the online studios, so to say. There's lots of artwork around the town. There's lots of things going on. And check out all the artist demos and the studio tours. And then we've got Helena doing her storytelling this afternoon for kids. Then Andy's later on. But Andy's is definitely not only is for kids, but also for adults. One of the best storytellers we've got around. Definitely have a look at that. And it's so privileged to have something like that. Then tomorrow morning, you've got Doug Shaw. Then during the week, you've got Kate Marsden. And obviously tomorrow as well, you've got Tracy Downing. Then you've got Gavin Monday, etc. I'll be drawing again, same time next week. This time probably on Facebook. But however, this has gone well, but I'll see. Maybe do Facebook and this live together. So yeah, thank you very much. Neal Vaughan, and it's nealvaughan.co.uk is my website. So cheers, and I'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.